Hey, I told you. It's explosive, it's aggressive. It's a little bit offensive, yeah, I said it. IVE is easily one of the best K-pop girl groups right now. Their music is consistently so good, and they have a sound that feels both elegant and catchy at the same time. Every comeback feels polished and memorable, from the vocals to the production to the styling. They know how to make songs that are fun to listen to but still feel unique and classy. Their stage presence is also incredible, and each member brings something different to the group. Honestly, it's hard to think of another group with such a strong run of title tracks. All of the members are extremely talented and each of them brings something special to the group. Their vocals, stage presence, visuals, and performances all stand out in different ways, but together they work perfectly as a team. You can really tell how much effort and skill they put into every performance. They all have strong individuality while still feeling very balanced as a group, which is one of the reasons I feel so complete and enjoyable to watch. Their music videos are fantastic as well. Every MV feels high quality and carefully put together, from the cinematography to the styling and set design. They always match the vibe of the song perfectly and make each comeback feel even more memorable. IVE really knows how to create visuals that are elegant, stylish, and fun to watch at the same time. Another reason IVE is such an awesome group is their consistency. A lot of groups have one or two standout eras, but IVE keeps delivering strong comebacks without losing their identity. They also have great chemistry together, which makes their performances and variety content really enjoyable to watch. Their choreography is always clean and satisfying, and they know how to make performances feel confident without trying too hard. I also think they have a very recognizable image as a group. The moment you see an IVE performance or hear one of their songs, it immediately feels like them. That kind of identity is hard to build and is a big part of why they stand out so much in K-pop. My favorite song of theirs would probably have to be I Am. It's honestly a tough decision because so many of their songs are amazing, but that one really stands out to me. The vocals, the energy, and the chorus are all so powerful, and it has that uplifting feeling that makes you want to replay it over and over again. My bias is Wonyoung. She has such a strong presence every time she performs, and she always stands out naturally on stage. I really like her confidence, elegance, and charisma, but she also seems very hardworking and professional. Whether it's performances, interviews, or photo shoots, she always knows how to capture attention. She brings a unique charm to IVE that really helps define the group's overall image and style. Their discography has strong replay value, meaning their songs stay enjoyable even after many listens instead of fading quickly. A lot of groups can have songs that feel exciting at first but lose impact after a while, but IVE tends to avoid that. Their tracks are built with clear hooks, smooth production, and melodies that are easy to come back to. Even after you know every part of the song, it still feels satisfying to replay, which is one of the hardest things to achieve in pop music. They balance different concepts really well, shifting between elegant, bold, and playful styles without it feeling forced or confusing. Instead of completely changing who they are every comeback, they adjust their concept while still keeping a consistent overall identity. That makes each era feel fresh, but still clearly part of the same group. It also helps them appeal to different audiences without losing their core vibe. Their vocal tone diversity adds a lot to their songs, giving each track more texture and emotion. Each member brings a different sound, which helps the songs feel layered instead of flat. Some voices feel soft and airy, others are more strong and grounded, and that contrast makes the harmonies and group sections more interesting. It also means different parts of songs stand out in different ways depending on who is singing. Their pre-choruses are often really well built, which makes the chorus hits feel more impactful. The way their songs build tension before the drop or hook is very intentional, and it creates a strong sense of anticipation. By the time the chorus arrives, it feels more satisfying because of that setup. This structure is a big reason why their music feels so catchy and replayable. They have strong digital performance, with songs consistently charting well and staying relevant over time. This shows that their appeal is not just based on hype or short-term attention, but on sustained public interest. Their releases tend to perform well across streaming platforms, which reflects both a strong fanbase and broader casual listener engagement. It also means their music connects beyond just dedicated fans. Their visual direction across eras feels cohesive, almost like each comeback is part of a larger aesthetic timeline. Even when the concepts change, there is still a clear sense of polish and intentional styling that ties everything together. This makes their releases feel like chapters in an ongoing visual story rather than completely separate projects. It adds to the feeling that the group has a well-defined artistic identity that continues to evolve over time. IVE is way better than Sword Art Online. Sword Art Online suffers from inconsistent and often weak writing that undermines its strongest premise. The pacing is one of its most persistent issues. The series rushes through potentially compelling arcs while simultaneously dragging out less engaging material. As a result, key developments can feel abrupt or undercooked, and emotional beats don't always land with the weight they're meant to carry. The character writing is another major weakness. They're written with limited depth or meaningful development. They often function more as narrative tools than as fully realized individuals, introduced to serve a specific arc or theme, and then sidelined once their role is complete. Even the protagonists' relationships tend to follow predictable patterns rather than evolving in a nuanced or earned way. Taken together, these issues create a story that frequently feels like it is moving faster than its writing can support. Sword Art Online also demonstrates a fundamental misunderstanding of how MMORPGs actually function, to the point where its in-universe game design feels arbitrary rather than grounded in any coherent systems thinking. Mechanics appear to exist or vanish purely to serve plot convenience, rather than emerging from consistent rules that would realistically shape player behavior in a shared online world. Core MMO elements such as class balance, progression systems, economy, aggro management, raid coordination, and the social infrastructure that defines long-term online games are either oversimplified or outright ignored. The result is a game that behaves less like a persistent multiplayer ecosystem and more like a scripted single-player dungeon crawler with occasional multiplayer framing. This lack of internal logic weakens immersion, because player actions don't feel meaningfully constrained or enabled by a believable system. Instead, outcomes often feel predetermined by narrative necessity rather than by the kind of emergent interactions that define real MMOs. It comes across as if the writer has little to no first-hand experience with MMORPGs and, more importantly, didn't engage in meaningful research before building the setting. The depiction of MMO systems feels superficial and frequently inaccurate, relying on surface-level ideas rather than any real understanding of how these games are structured or how players actually interact within them. Instead of reflecting the complexity of real online worlds, where systems like progression, economy, class synergy, and player-driven social dynamics are deeply interdependent, the fictional game framework often reduces them to simplistic or inconsistent mechanics. This gives the impression that core design decisions were made to fit narrative needs first, with little regard for whether they would make sense in an actual persistent online environment. As a result, the world doesn't feel like it's built on informed design principles, but rather on assumptions about how games seem from the outside. If these games existed in reality, they would struggle to retain a player base, if they even attracted one in the first place. The systems are often so poorly conceived, whether in terms of balance, fairness, or basic usability, that they would collapse under the expectations of actual MMO players, who are highly sensitive to depth, optimization, and long-term progression design. The lack of coherent mechanics and the frequent reliance on arbitrary or punitive rules would make the experience feel more like navigating inconsistent constraints than engaging with a living, interactive world. In real MMORPG ecosystems, players tolerate complexity when it creates meaningful mastery and social interaction, but they quickly abandon systems that feel unfair, opaque, or poorly integrated. Taken at face value, these fictional games would likely fail as commercial products. They don't align with how real players behave, how communities form, or how modern live-service games are designed to sustain engagement over time. Sword Art Online also shows a fairly shallow engagement with mythology, in the sense that it tends to borrow mythological names, motifs, and aesthetics without really engaging with the structure, symbolism, or cultural context that gives mythology its depth. Mythological references are often used as surface-level branding rather than as integrated narrative systems. Gods, legendary creatures, and myth-inspired weapons or abilities are frequently reduced to names or visual motifs, stripped of the original stories, contradictions, and thematic weight that make those myths meaningful in their own traditions. Instead of drawing on mythology as a framework for exploring recurring human concerns, like fate, hubris, morality, or the relationship between mortals and the divine, it often treats myth as interchangeable fantasy vocabulary. This also extends to how mythological structures are repurposed. In many myth systems, power hierarchies and divine relationships are complex, symbolic, and often internally inconsistent in intentional ways. In Sword Art Online, those elements are typically flattened into straightforward game-like mechanics or aesthetic themes, which removes much of the interpretive richness that mythology normally carries. As a result, the mythological layer feels decorative rather than substantive. It adds flavor, but it rarely informs the deeper logic of the world or the narrative in a way that reflects an understanding of why these myths endure in the first place. Sword Art Online is often used as a clear example that popularity and quality are not the same thing. The series achieved massive commercial success and cultural visibility, but that doesn't automatically translate into strong writing, consistent world building, or thoughtful execution. Its popularity is largely driven by timing, premise, and accessibility rather than narrative craftsmanship. The core concept, players trapped in a lethal VR MMORPG, was highly attention-grabbing, especially when the series first aired, and it resonated strongly with audiences who were new to the trapped-in-a-game subgenre. That initial hook carried a significant amount of its early momentum, even when the underlying storytelling didn't always support the premise with depth or consistency. At the same time, the series demonstrates how a compelling idea can overshadow structural weaknesses. Issues like uneven pacing, underdeveloped character arcs, and inconsistent internal logic don't necessarily prevent mainstream success if the show still delivers emotional highs, memorable moments, or strong aesthetic appeal. In that sense, popularity reflects engagement and resonance more than it reflects technical quality. So Sword Art Online ends up illustrating a broader media reality. Widespread appeal often depends on immediacy and concept-driven excitement, while sustained critical quality depends on execution, cohesion, and depth, areas where the series is frequently debated or criticized. Sword Art Online is often cited as a textbook example of wasted potential, because its foundational premise is genuinely strong but repeatedly undercut by uneven execution. The idea of players trapped inside a fully immersive MMORPG with real stakes offers enormous narrative possibilities. Psychological deterioration under permanent threat, emergent social structures inside a closed virtual society, ethical questions about identity in digital spaces, and the long-term consequences of living inside a constructed world. However, the series rarely explores those ideas with the depth they deserve. Early tension built around survival in a hostile game world is quickly resolved, and subsequent arcs tend to shift away from the most interesting implications of its core setup. Instead of consistently developing the systemic and psychological consequences of its premise, the story often pivots toward more conventional fantasy or action romance structures, which can feel disconnected from what initially made the concept compelling. This creates a recurring sense that the narrative is operating below its own ceiling. Promising thematic material is introduced: virtual identity, trauma, social isolation, and power structures inside digital environments, but it is frequently simplified or left underdeveloped in favor of plot progression or character pairings. As a result, the series leaves the impression of a world that could have supported far more complex storytelling, but only partially commits to realizing that potential. Honestly, Sword Art Online isn't worth your time compared to better alternatives in both storytelling and entertainment value. You'd be better off skipping it entirely and just listening to IVE instead, which delivers far more consistent quality in its own medium. The Sword Art Online fanbase can also be frustrating to engage with at times, particularly when it comes to criticism of the series. There is often a noticeable tendency among some fans to dismiss or deflect critique rather than seriously engaging with it, even when the criticisms are about fairly structural issues like pacing, character development, or world-building consistency. This can make discussion difficult, because instead of evaluating the merits of specific points, conversations sometimes shift toward defending the series as a whole or reframing any critique as misunderstanding or bias. That kind of dynamic tends to shut down meaningful analysis, since it reduces the space for nuanced disagreement. The Sword Art Online fanbase can be quite dismissive toward criticism, to the point where negative opinions about the series aren't always treated as valid perspectives. In some discussions, disagreement doesn't lead to engagement or debate, but instead to immediate pushback, as if disliking the show itself is inherently wrong or uninformed. That dynamic can make conversations feel one-sided, where appreciation is treated as the default correct stance and criticism is interpreted as hostility rather than analysis. When that happens, it becomes difficult to have balanced discussions about the series' strengths and weaknesses, because opposing viewpoints aren't being evaluated on their content so much as rejected outright. It can feel exhausting trying to engage with segments of the Sword Art online fan community when discussions repeatedly loop into defensiveness or unproductive arguments. In spaces where criticism is routinely met with dismissal rather than engagement, even reasonable points can get lost in back and forth that doesn't go anywhere. In that kind of environment, stepping away from the discourse can be the most practical option. If interactions consistently lead to frustration rather than meaningful exchange, it's reasonable to disengage and avoid those conversations entirely, since they're unlikely to be productive. The IVE community tends to be perceived as more positive and easier to engage with, especially in comparison to fandoms that are more defensive or combative in discussions. Conversations around IVE are often centered on appreciation of the music, performances, visuals, and production quality, which can create a more lighthearted and less argumentative atmosphere overall. A big part of that difference comes from what the community prioritizes. In many cases, K-pop fandom spaces are built around shared enjoyment, content updates, and performance discussion rather than long-form debate or critique-heavy analysis. That naturally reduces the frequency of hostile disagreements and makes interactions feel more straightforward and less contentious. As a result, people often find it easier to participate without feeling like every opinion has to be defended or debated. While no community is completely free of conflict, the general tone around IVE is often seen as more welcoming and less exhausting to engage with. As a bonus for sticking around this long, it makes sense to shift from general discussion into something more concrete and interesting. A closer look at the group's 2 latest music videos. This gives a better sense of how their concepts, production choices, and visual identity are evolving in practice rather than just in abstract praise. Instead of staying at the level of fandom comparison or broad impressions, analyzing the recent MVs allows you to focus on the actual craft, how the group is being positioned aesthetically, how the songs are visually interpreted, and how effectively the direction supports the music itself. That's where a lot of the appeal really becomes clear. In the details of styling, cinematography, editing, rhythm, and how each member is framed within the concept. Looking at them side by side also makes it easier to see continuity and contrast in the group's creative direction. You can pick apart what themes are being reinforced, what new ideas are being introduced, and how the group's identity is being refined over time.
We're diving into IVE's Black Hole MV, breaking down the lyrics, visuals, choreography, and hidden details that make it so captivating. From symbolic imagery to subtle touches you might have missed, we'll explore how the song and video come together to create a powerful and memorable experience. The MV begins with a girl standing alone on the bridge of a skyscraper. This isn't just any random building. It's the sky bridge of the Lotte World Tower in Seoul. That location choice is deliberate. The tower is the tallest building in South Korea and one of the tallest in the world. Just being on the sky bridge instantly communicates height and scale. The setting alone sets a mood before anything else in the MV happens. The girl isn't just standing somewhere tall, she's on one of the most recognizable and visually striking structures in the country. It's a place that's simultaneously awe-inspiring and intimidating, and that makes every shot feel charged with tension and significance. This location has also been featured in other MVs. For example, BTBT by BI. Here's a fun fact. The Huntrix Tower in the movie K-pop Demon Hunters is based on this tower. The filmmakers originally wanted to include the tower itself, but they weren't able to secure the rights in time. Because of that, they had to quickly design an entirely new tower for the film. It's interesting how the very first shot of the MV is upside down. That choice immediately disorients the viewer and sets a unique visual tone. The inversion draws attention to the architecture itself, emphasizing height and scale in a new way. It also creates a sense of tension and instability. Even before the music kicks in, the audience feels slightly off balance. The upside-down angle transforms a recognizable landmark into something almost dreamlike. It immediately signals that this MV MV will play with perspective, space, and the feeling of being suspended, which matches the dramatic setting of the sky bridge. The lyrics, "Shall it all be sung, be done like this?" carry a sense of hesitation. On the surface, it sounds like a question about whether to fully express something, whether to let emotions, thoughts, or experiences be openly shared through song or action. The phrasing, "Shall it all be sung?" reflects a deliberate consideration of openness. The second part, "Be done like this," reinforces that reflective tone. There's a sense of self-awareness, considering if the current method of expression or action is the right one, or if it's inevitable to do it this way. Together, the lyrics express an internal dialogue about surrender, choice, and the consequences of fully giving oneself over to an emotion or situation. It balances curiosity and caution, almost as if the singer is on the edge of making a decision but is aware of the weight it carries. Paired with imagery of being high above the city on the sky bridge, the line can feel even more intense. It captures that delicate moment between hesitation and commitment. The lyrics, "The moment that takes root in your heart, it spreads ever deeply." Can you hear the song carry a layered sense of emotional impact? The first line, "The moment that takes root in your heart," demonstrates an experience or feeling that isn't fleeting. The word root is important because it implies growth, permanence, and something that strengthens over time. The next line, "It spreads ever deeply," builds on that idea. Once a feeling or memory takes hold, it doesn't stay small or contained. It grows, spreading throughout your consciousness, influencing your thoughts and emotions in subtle but persistent ways. There's an intensity here, like the feeling can't be ignored or escaped. It permeates every part of your inner world. Can you hear this song? Acts almost like an invitation or a check-in with the listener. It acknowledges that this emotional experience is not just internal but also shared. The song becomes a metaphor for the emotion itself, something that can be felt and understood by others. These lyrics are about the way certain moments or feelings embed themselves in us, grow in influence, and connect us to others, even through something as simple as a song. The lyrics, "Over this dark world, glitter comes pouring out. I am witnessing that this is truly a miracle," create a strong contrast between darkness and light, both visually and emotionally. The first line, "Over this dark world," sets a tone of struggle or uncertainty. It evokes a feeling of heaviness, perhaps representing challenges, confusion, or emotional turbulence. It establishes a backdrop that feels serious or even overwhelming. The second line, "Glitter comes pouring out," flips that darkness into something bright and unexpected. Glitter here isn't literal, it represents sparks of beauty, hope, or inspiration breaking through the gloom. The word pouring indicates abundance and movement, as if the light or joy is unstoppable, washing over the darkness and transforming it. It conveys a sense of wonder that even in a difficult or oppressive environment, moments of brilliance can emerge. "I am witnessing that this is truly a miracle," emphasizes awareness and presence. The singer isn't just experiencing it, she's actively observing and recognizing its significance. Calling it a miracle adds weight to the moment, suggesting that this transformation or appearance of beauty is rare, almost magical, and deserving of admiration. The lines capture a journey from struggle to awe, showing how extraordinary moments can emerge even in the darkest circumstances, and how being present to witness them makes the experience even more powerful. In this scene, the girl is wearing Fox Racing gloves, which is a very deliberate styling choice. Fox Racing is an American brand that's best known for extreme sports gear. The gloves themselves carry a lot of cultural connotations. It shows that she's prepared for extreme situations and can handle tension or danger. In the background, the tower from the beginning of the MV appears again, creating a sense of visual continuity and grounding the viewer in a familiar setting. By bringing the location back, the video ties earlier moments to the present scene, reinforcing the narrative and emotional journey of the song. The lyrics, "Keep on running, don't be afraid of danger, stoke the flame that you've been holding onto, step out and speak all your wishes." So they keep blazing even in the rain, carry a strong sense of motivation and perseverance. "Keep on running, don't be afraid of danger," encourages persistence despite obstacles. It implies that challenges and risks are inevitable, but fear shouldn't stop you from moving forward. "Stoke the flame that you've been holding onto" uses fire as a metaphor for inner passion, dreams, or determination. A flame needs care to keep burning, so stoking it reflects actively nurturing your ambitions instead of letting them fade. This line underscores responsibility for your own growth and motivation. "Step out and speak all your wishes" is about expression and action. It's not enough to feel or hope quietly. To make an impact, you need to articulate your goals and desires. So they keep blazing even in the rain highlights resilience. Rain symbolizes difficulties, setbacks, or emotional challenges, but the flame continuing to blaze shows that true passion can survive adversity. It proves that determination and hope aren't dependent on perfect circumstances. They can endure and shine even when conditions are harsh. Framing dreams and ambition as something that can persist and grow despite fear, obstacles, or external pressures. The lyrics, "Now look at me now, look at me now, anything you want will come true. Look at me now, shine like my crown," boldly all the way carry a strong sense of confidence, empowerment, and self-assertion. It draws attention to the singer. It's not just about being noticed, it's about claiming presence and authority in her space. "Look at me now" is also a lyric that appears in the group's previous song I Am, which makes its inclusion here feel intentional rather than coincidental. Fans who recognize the lyric may see it as a subtle callback, like a bridge connecting past and present concepts. "Anything you want will come true" reinforces optimism and possibility. It implies that with determination and action, desires can become reality. It also frames the singer as someone who's encouraging others to do the same. "Shine like my crown adds a regal metaphor, equating confidence and self-assurance with the brilliance of a crown. And shine emphasizes radiance and visibility, being proud, unafraid, and fully expressing oneself. Boldly all the way serves as a call to action, celebrating personal growth, empowerment, and the rewards of persistence and self-belief. During the shine like my crown part, the girl puts her hands on her head as if she's wearing a crown. The pose draws attention to her head, symbolically placing her in a position of authority, confidence, and self-assurance. By physically mimicking a crown, she embodies the idea of shining, claiming space, and taking control of her image in a literal and figurative sense. This isn't unique to IVE. Placing hands on the head like a crown is a common choreography choice in K-pop. Many artists use it during key lines to visually accentuate lyrics about power, confidence, or individuality. The lyrics, la 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 love flame. Win it my way, I have nothing to fear, I will show you something new. It's okay to dream even bigger, it will all become reality are full of energy, optimism, and self-assuredness. The repeated la 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 love flame functions almost like a celebratory chant, giving the lyrics a light, playful rhythm while also emphasizing passion and excitement. Love flame itself can be interpreted as a symbol for enthusiasm, desire, or the drive that fuels personal goals. Win it my way is a declaration of individuality and confidence. It communicates that the singer isn't just following rules or someone else's expectations, she's determined to succeed on her own terms. I have nothing to fear, I will show you something new reinforces courage and innovation. The singer is fearless in pursuing goals and confident in her ability to surprise or inspire others. It signals a willingness to step into the unknown and take risks, turning uncertainty into opportunity. Repeating the lines strengthen the celebratory, uplifting mood, while the final lines, it's okay to dream even bigger, it will all become reality, offer encouragement and hope. These lyrics are about courage, self-expression, and the joy of pursuing your own path, combining playfulness with empowerment in a way that feels both fun and inspirational. The girl also wears a shirt that repeatedly says I love you. The repeated phrase creates a visual pattern, turning the words into a kind of statement piece that communicates affection, openness, and confidence. The shirt complements the overall theme of self-expression and empowerment. Just as the lyrics encourage speaking your wishes, chasing your goals, and shining like a crown, the shirt's repeated declaration of love emphasizes openness and emotional honesty. During the interlude, the girl says ha while sitting in front of a screen that displays a swirling black hole, which ties directly to the song's title. The visual is striking because it makes the abstract concept of a black hole tangible. The swirling motion on the screen creates a sense of movement and gravitational pull, as if the energy of the song itself is drawing the viewer in. Her casual utterance of ha contrasts with the dramatic imagery, giving the scene a mix of confidence and playfulness. It feels like she's acknowledging the power of the black hole, yet remaining unfazed, as if she's in control of the energy swirling behind her. The lyrics push away the hand gripping your ankle, unfold the dream that's been hiding. Like a flower that blooms in the mud, like a bird that flies with broken wings, are deeply metaphorical and speak to resilience, courage, and the act of breaking free from limitations. The first line, push away the hand gripping your ankle, evokes the image of being held back or restrained, whether by fear, doubt, or external forces. It's a call to resist anything that prevents you from moving forward or realizing your potential. Unfold the dream that's been hiding builds on that idea. Dreams, like flowers or fragile objects, need space and opportunity to grow. The line encourages letting go of hesitation and allowing your ambitions to surface, giving them room to expand and be fully expressed. The metaphors in the next two lines are especially noteworthy. Like a flower that blooms in the mud illustrates beauty and strength emerging from difficult or adverse circumstances. Even when conditions are harsh, growth and transformation are possible. Similarly, like a bird that flies with broken wings emphasizes perseverance despite limitations or challenges. It conveys determination, courage, and the willingness to keep going even when circumstances make success seem impossible. The lyrics 1, 2, 3, follow me and come with me, even when shaken and broken then finally. So go ahead, baby, carry a sense of invitation, encouragement, and momentum. Starting with 1, 2, 3 immediately signals that something is about to begin, creating anticipation and drawing the listener in. Follow me and come with me enhances that sense of invitation. The singer isn't just moving forward alone, she's calling others to join her. It's inclusive, encouraging connection, trust, and shared experience, suggesting that even in uncertainty, taking a step together can feel empowering. The phrase, even when shaken and broken then finally, acknowledges that challenges, setbacks, or emotional turbulence are part of the journey. It recognizes vulnerability and struggle, but the word finally implies a breakthrough or arrival after hardship. This line balances realism with hope, emphasizing that perseverance pays off even after moments of difficulty or instability. So go ahead, baby adds a playful and reassuring finish. It feels intimate and confident, almost like a personal pep talk or a cheer, encouraging action and boldness. Taken together, these lyrics underscore movement, courage, and shared experience, blending rhythm, empowerment, and optimism in a way that motivates both the listener and the performers themselves. The post-verse is repeated here. This time, however, the visuals shift direction, introducing a new dimension to the scene. The platform shots give a sense of structure and elevation. It also draws the eye upward, giving a sense of prominence and focus, while the surrounding dancers amplify their presence and energy. In contrast, the speeding car scenes introduce motion and momentum. It contrasts with the controlled movements on the platform, suggesting that the journey is both deliberate and dynamic, sometimes guided and coordinated, sometimes sometimes fast and unpredictable. Even though the lyrics are repeated, these different visuals give the scene a fresh energy and underscore the themes of confidence, progress, and bold action. When the camera zooms out, we realize that the girl in the car isn't actually driving through a real city at all. She's on a controlled set. The car itself is only half of a vehicle, built just enough to frame the shot from the angles the audience sees. There's no full body, no real road, no actual motion. It's a constructed illusion designed specifically for the camera. Behind her, the city rushing past isn't real either. It's a large screen playing pre-recorded footage, creating the impression of movement. This technique is common in film and music video production because it allows precise control over lighting, safety, and camera positioning. This reveal adds an interesting meta layer to the MV, showing how easily visuals can create a convincing sense of reality even when everything is staged. The pre-chorus is repeated here as well, but the visuals are completely different. The girl is filmed in a room full of mirrors, and the reflections multiply her image across the space. The mirrors create a sense of infinity, giving the impression that her presence and energy are spreading outward endlessly. It's a remarkable way to visually amplify her performance. What makes this scene especially interesting is that you can see the filming equipment in the reflections. The camera itself is visible in the mirrors, and there's even another camera present in the shot. This creates a meta layer where the production process is partially exposed to the viewer. It blurs the line between performance and behind the scenes, reminding the audience that what they're watching is both art and construction. The mirrored environment also interacts with the choreography. Every movement is reflected multiple times, so gestures, expressions, and formations gain extra visual complexity. One of the girls is wearing some star rings, and it's likely more than just a fashion accessory. Stars often symbolize ambition, guidance, and aspiration, but in this case it feels like a deliberate reference to the cover art of the group's previous song Bang Bang, which prominently featured a star, establishing continuity and rewarding attentive fans who notice these details. Rings have long carried rich symbolism in art, literature, and culture. At their core, a ring is a circle which represents continuity, eternity, and completeness because it has no beginning or end, turning a small object into a potent visual signifier. In storytelling, rings often take on additional layers of meaning. The most famous example in modern pop culture is the Lord of the Rings franchise. The lyrics, "Oh, look at me, look at me. Oh, look at me," are simple on the surface, but they carry a lot of energy and intention. The "oh" at the beginning of each line adds emotional emphasis, making it sound like a mix of excitement and triumph. It's as if the singer is celebrating a moment of accomplishment or transformation, drawing the audience into that feeling. During this part, the girls are dressed mostly in all black while the backup dancers are dressed in all white. The color difference immediately separates the main performers from the supporting dancers, emphasizing their presence and authority on screen. The opposing colors also help guide the viewer's eye through the choreography. The girls in black stand out against the white of the dancers, ensuring that even in complex group formations, the main focus remains clear. There's a quick transition that makes it feel like the viewer is traveling through a black hole. It's disorienting in a deliberate way, mimicking the gravitational pull and spiral motion of an actual black hole, making the viewer feel physically immersed in the experience rather than just watching it passively. The lyrics "Close your eyes and hold my hand. I will show you everything, so come closer" carry a strong sense of trust, guidance, and intimacy. "Close your eyes and hold my hand" invites vulnerability and surrender. Closing your eyes is symbolic of letting go of control or fear, and holding someone's hand conveys support, connection, and reassurance. It creates a feeling of being guided safely through uncertainty or the unknown. "I will show you everything, so come closer" reinforces that sense of guidance and trust. It implies that the singer is leading the listener toward discovery, revelation, or a new perspective. There's both an emotional and a visual quality to this line. Emotionally, it evokes closeness and connection, while visually it could imply movement, journey, or exploration. Together, the lines emphasize intimacy, courage, and shared experience. They encourage the listener to let go of hesitation and follow someone they trust. There's also a close-up shot of an eye during the "close your eyes" part, and it adds a surprisingly powerful layer to the scene. By focusing so tightly on the eye, the MV draws attention to perception, awareness, and emotion. The lyrics, "I got fire in my eyes, look straight into them. La la la, love flame, la la la, love flame, ooh. What ignited this fire? What is holding on to destiny? La la la, love flame, la la la, love flame. It's in your hand" are charged with intensity, confidence, and a sense of agency. "I got fire in my eyes, look straight into them" immediately establishes boldness and determination. Eyes are a direct channel of emotion, and describing them as burning with fire conveys passion, focus, and unstoppable energy. It's a declaration that the singer is fully aware of her power and wants others to acknowledge it. The repeated chant, "La la la, love flame," enhances the fiery energy introduced in the first line. Here, love flame acts as both a literal and metaphorical symbol, representing passion, ambition, or an inner spark that drives the performer forward. Its repetition gives the lyrics a rhythmic, almost hypnotic quality, inviting the listener to feel the momentum and excitement alongside the performer. "What ignited this fire? What is holding onto destiny?" adds introspection to the otherwise energetic declaration. It gives the impression that the intensity and drive in the singer's eyes have a source, something deeper motivating them, and ties it to destiny, implying that ambition, choices, and personal growth are interconnected. There's a sense of questioning and wonder, acknowledging that the fire within comes from purpose, desire, and potential. It's in your hand shifts the focus outward, empowering the listener. It expresses that control, opportunity, and the ability to act are within one's own grasp. Determination and ambition aren't just qualities to admire, they're tools that the listener can actively wield to shape their path. There's also a lot of fire and spark imagery during this part to match the lyrics, and it really amplifies the intensity of the scene. Flames and sparks erupt around the performers, turning the abstract idea of passion and energy into something visually tangible. The fire imagery also adds a sense of danger and excitement, emphasizing boldness and power. The chorus is repeated here, but with some new lyrics that bring a celebratory tone. With the lights and bubbles floating in the air immediately creates a whimsical, almost magical atmosphere. I Will Dance All Night emphasizes self-expression and letting go. It conveys surrendering to the moment, fully embracing joy and showing confidence through movement. The line carries a sense of liberation, connecting the physical act of dancing to emotional freedom and the thrill of being fully alive in the present. And the long wait introduces a sense of culmination or fulfillment. It implies that the anticipation or struggle that came before has reached a satisfying resolution. There's a sense of reward here. Lastly, finally as ourselves, underscores the theme of authenticity and self-acceptance. It demonstrates that after challenges, hesitation, or societal expectations, the performers are now free to express who they truly are. The refrain is repeated here, but with a subtle yet meaningful change. Instead of the original "look at me," the second part shifts to "look at you." This small alteration transforms the focus from self-expression to connection with the listener or another person. While "look at me" is about asserting presence, confidence, and identity, changing it to "look at you" turns it outward, signaling recognition, empathy, or even admiration. It creates a sense of dialogue, as if the singer is acknowledging and inviting the audience to share in that energy. The final shot of the MV shows all the girls standing together on the sky bridge of the tower, and it serves as an unforgettable conclusion to the story. After the high-energy choreography, dynamic cuts, and layered symbolism throughout the video, this shot brings everything back to a single, composed moment of presence and unity. The girls are not only individually confident, but also strong as a group. The composition of the shot is carefully framed to highlight both the performers and the vast cityscape around them. It visually conveys a sense of achievement, as if they've reached the top together. By ending the MV with this shot, the video leaves viewers with a lasting impression of elegance and mastery while simultaneously giving the song an emotional resolution. The girls are literally and figuratively on top, tying together the entire MV. The credited director adds another layer of context to the MV. He has a strong track record in K-pop, having directed several of the group's previous music videos as well as videos for other prominent groups. Having a director like him return for multiple projects with the same group helps create visual cohesion across their releases. Fans can often spot recurring stylistic choices. The members have mentioned that the song reminds them of the movie Interstellar, which is a fitting comparison. Interstellar famously features a black hole called Gargantua, and much of the film revolves around themes of gravity, time distortion, and the vast unknown of space. That connection aligns naturally with the imagery and atmosphere of the song. In Interstellar, the black hole isn't just a visual spectacle. It represents mystery, danger, and the pull of something larger than oneself. The idea of being drawn toward an immense, powerful force mirrors the emotional intensity conveyed in the track. By referencing Interstellar, the members highlight how the song carries a cinematic, almost sci-fi quality, framing the song as something immersive and larger than life, much like the film itself. And that wraps up the breakdown for this MV. Overall, the song is about confidence, passion, and pursuing your desires without hesitation. It celebrates self-expression, empowerment, and the courage to take risks, whether in love, personal goals, or simply showing who you truly are. The lyrics emphasize resilience, determination, and the importance of embracing both challenges and opportunities, while the visuals reinforce those ideas with extraordinary locations, dynamic choreography, and symbolic imagery like fire, mirrors, and the sky bridge. What did you think? Personally, I thought the song and MV were fantastic. The combination of catchy, energetic vocals and the layered, visually striking music video really stood out. They managed to balance playful, high-energy moments with deeper symbolic imagery, like the sky bridge, mirrors, and fire effects, which added richness to the overall experience. What K-pop music video should be analyzed next? Leave a suggestion in the comments section. If you enjoyed this breakdown and found the insights interesting, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more content.
We're diving deep into IVE's explosive MV for Bang Bang. We'll explore how every detail works together to tell a story of confidence, power, and unstoppable energy. Whether you've watched the MV 100 times or it's your first viewing, there's plenty to unpack. So let's jump in and see what makes Bang Bang such a memorable spectacle. The MV opens with a striking shot of a massive concrete building, instantly setting a cold and almost mysterious tone. At first glance, it feels isolated and imposing, like it exists outside of time. But this isn't just a random location chosen for aesthetics. The MV was actually filmed in Italy at the Rosal Malara complex, a real brutalist structure known for its maze-like layout and stark, unfinished look. That choice alone already tells us a lot about the mood IVE is going for. The building's raw concrete and sharp lines contrast with the members' presence, making them feel powerful yet confined. glamorous yet surrounded by something heavy and industrial. It creates tension right from the start, as if we're being pulled into a controlled environment where something explosive is about to happen. Before a single lyric is even sung, the setting primes us for a story about impact, pressure, and intensity, which perfectly matches the energy of Bang Bang. What makes this location even more interesting is that IVE aren't the first artists to use it as a visual backdrop. The Rosal Malara complex has appeared in other MVs too, including Tuta Gold by Italian singer Mahmood. That connection gives the space a kind of cinematic history, almost like it's carrying a visual identity of its own. Directors seem drawn to its futuristic but slightly dystopian atmosphere, where long corridors and towering concrete shapes naturally create drama without needing heavy effects. By choosing a place that's already been used to tell bold, stylized stories, the Bang Bang MV places itself within that same artistic lineage, but IVE reshape it with their own energy, turning a rigid architectural landmark into something dynamic and alive. The camera then slowly pans down to reveal all of the members standing together in formation. Their eyes are closed at first, creating a brief moment of stillness that feels almost suspended in time, and then they open them in perfect sync. It's a small detail, but it immediately establishes unity and control. That synchronized movement suggests intention rather than randomness, like they're waking up at the exact same moment or stepping into a shared mindset. It signals that this isn't just a group of individuals on screen, it's a collective presence moving as one, setting the tone for the precision and confidence that carries through the rest of the MV. A bunch of glowing objects fall from the sky and land in a pile. The glowing objects are a recurring motif throughout the MV, appearing in multiple scenes, which gives it a sense of continuity and symbolic weight. The glowing objects add a magical, surreal quality to the world, contrasting with the industrial and brutalist settings while reinforcing the idea that the members' presence can transform any space. It shows that their energy isn't just physical or performative, it has a kind of visual, almost tangible impact, leaving traces wherever they move. By repeating this motif, the MV builds a consistent atmosphere of wonder and intensity, blending fantasy with the bold, assertive energy of the song, and making the overall visual experience feel both dynamic and enchanted. The scene also takes place at night, which makes the glowing objects stand out even more vividly. The darkness of the environment contrasts sharply with the luminescent objects, turning them into focal points that draw the viewer's attention and enhance the magical, surreal vibe. This choice shows how lighting and color are used deliberately to amplify impact. What might have been toned down during the day becomes striking and almost otherworldly at night. It reinforces the idea that the member's presence transforms the space, making everything feel alive and charged with energy. The night setting also adds drama and depth to the visuals, emphasizing contrast, movement, and the sense that these glowing objects are more than decorative. They're part of the fantastical world that the MV is creating. The lines, "It's a new scene, it's aggressive," must have caught on already, right, Onni? Hint at a shift in attitude and identity right from the start. Lyrically, it feels self-aware, almost like they're acknowledging that the audience can sense a change in concept or energy compared to what they've shown before. The phrase "new scene" suggests a reset or a transition into a different space, both visually and emotionally, while aggressive frames this era as sharper and more assertive. The term onni is a Korean word used by females to address an older sister or an older female friend. It's a term that carries both respect and familiarity, showing affection while acknowledging someone's seniority in age or experience. In everyday conversation, it can be used casually among friends or more formally in closer family or social relationships. In K-pop, fans often hear members using the term when speaking to older female members of the group, which highlights closeness and camaraderie, while also reflecting Korean cultural norms around age and hierarchy. It's more than just a word. It conveys warmth, respect, and a personal connection between the speaker and the person they're addressing. Together, the lines reinforce the idea that the MV isn't just introducing a setting, it's announcing a new phase for the group, one where their confidence comes across as intentional and bold. During this scene, the girl is sitting among a field of flowers with a horse beside her, and the imagery immediately shifts the tone into something softer and more dreamlike. Flowers often symbolize growth, beauty, and renewal, which contrasts with the aggressive, industrial visuals seen earlier in the MV. The presence of the horse adds another layer of meaning, as horses are commonly associated with freedom, strength, and movement. The horse also has a black coat of hair, and black horses are often associated with mystery, strength, and independence. In visual storytelling, they can suggest intensity or an untamed energy, which fits the MV's themes of confidence and control. Rather than representing darkness in a negative sense, the imagery usually leans toward power and elegance, reinforcing the idea that the scene carries a more dramatic and commanding presence. Together, these elements create a sense of calm power rather than forceful dominance. It shows a different side of confidence, one that feels grounded, natural, and self-assured. In the context of the MV, this moment suggests that strength doesn't only come from intensity or rebellion, but also from balance and inner peace, reinforcing the idea that the members can embody multiple energies within the same narrative. The lines, "The problem mentioned in all the rumors, yeah, I'm that her. My picture on the wall." Underneath it says, "Wanted," lean into a bold, almost rebellious image that the MV keeps building visually. Instead of denying the attention or controversy, the lyrics frame it as something powerful, like they're fully aware of the way people talk about them and choosing to own that narrative. Calling herself that her turns a vague reputation into a defined persona, while the wanted imagery adds a cinematic, outlaw-like edge that matches the dramatic setting. It suggests a character who stands at the center of attention, not because she's hiding, but because she's impossible to ignore. In the context of the MV, these lines reinforce the idea that the members aren't just participants in the scene, they're the focal point of it, transforming rumors and scrutiny into a symbol of confidence and control. The girl shoots a red flare from her hand, creating a dramatic and striking moment that immediately draws attention. The red color conveys intensity, emphasizing the bold and explosive energy of the scene, turning a simple gesture into a statement of authority and confidence. The flare also adds a cinematic, supernatural quality, enhancing the surreal and stylized world. Symbolically, it highlights her ability to command attention and shape the environment around her, making her presence feel both dynamic and unstoppable. During this part of the MV, the set design reinforces the lyrics. There are some wanted posters on the wall, which immediately makes the wanted lyric feel tangible and grounded in the visual world. It's one thing to sing about being notorious, but seeing it represented as an actual bounty on the wall gives the whole idea weight and stakes. Although for these posters the word "wanted" appears above the picture rather than underneath it like the lyric describes, that difference actually makes the visual feel more intentional rather than contradictory. It shows that the MV isn't trying to recreate the lyrics literally, but instead reinterpret them in a way that fits the aesthetic of the set. Placing "wanted" at the top makes the label feel more official, almost like a headline, which draws attention immediately and reinforces the idea of public recognition and notoriety. The slight mismatch between lyric and design also highlights how the MV plays with perspective, turning familiar imagery into something stylized and cinematic rather than purely realistic. It suggests that what matters isn't exact placement, but the overall message of being seen, targeted, and impossible to ignore, keeping the symbolism consistent even when the visuals shift slightly. One of the members uses a can of spray paint and crosses out a poster, which adds another layer of meaning. That act isn't just rebellious. It's a statement of control. She's not a passive figure waiting for the world to define her. She's actively rewriting the narrative, erasing the labels or rumors that try to confine her. It reinforces the MV's theme of confidence and agency, showing that the members aren't just iconic or wanted. They're in command of how they're seen. The lines, "Wake up, don't hesitate, who cares what others think, I don't give a what you say," are a direct declaration of independence and self-confidence. They capture a mindset that's unapologetic and fearless, rejecting outside judgment and emphasizing action over hesitation. "Wake up, don't hesitate" isn't just a call to move. It's a challenge to seize control of your own narrative, to act decisively without waiting for permission or approval. Following that, "Who cares what others think, I don't give a what you say." Double down on that defiance, reinforcing that external opinions hold no power over the speaker. All of it together conveys a group that's fully aware of themselves, confident in their identity, and unbothered by criticism. It's the moment where attitude and aesthetic align, making the statement not just lyrical, but embodied. During this part, there's a sign in the background that reads, "Keep your boots dirty," and it's a powerful detail. On the surface, it might seem like a quirky or random piece of set dressing, but in context it reinforces the MV's themes of rebellion, resilience, and staying grounded in the face of scrutiny. Keep Your Boots Dirty suggests embracing the grind, the struggle, and the messy reality of life rather than trying to stay pristine or polished just to please others. It pairs perfectly with the lyrics about not caring what others think, adding a visual cue that mirrors the attitude the members are projecting. In a way, it's a call to action. Stay bold, stay active, and don't shy away from challenges, because authenticity comes from being unafraid to get your hands or your boots dirty. It's a small set detail that quietly amplifies the overall mood of defiance and self-empowerment in the MV. A giant wheel rolls through the background, adding another surreal, kinetic element to the scene. Its oversized scale makes it feel symbolic rather than practical, almost like a visual representation of momentum or cycles constantly moving forward. The motion of the wheel reinforces the MV's recurring themes of progression and unstoppable energy, as if the world around the members is always in motion alongside them. Because it appears behind the action rather than in the foreground, it also gives the environment a layered, dreamlike quality, making the space feel larger and more dynamic. Moments like this help build the MV's slightly unreal atmosphere, where familiar objects are exaggerated and transformed into symbols of movement, change, and continuous impact. The black horse appears in the background of this scene as well, further supporting the sense of strength, mystery, and elegance it brings to the MV. Its recurring presence creates visual continuity and emphasizes the symbolic weight of the horse, connecting different moments and settings throughout the video. By appearing multiple times, the horse becomes more than just a background element. It acts as a visual anchor that embodies power, freedom, and a commanding presence, while adding depth and cohesion to the storytelling. The girl also stands next to a wanted poster of herself and mirrors the exact same pose, and this is a clever visual moment that adds layers to the narrative. By copying the image on the poster, she's not just acknowledging her own notoriety, she's owning it. It shows that she's fully aware of how the world sees her and isn't intimidated by it. Instead of shying away or trying to distance herself from the label, she matches it confidently, turning what could be a mark of judgment into a symbol of power. It's a visual way of saying she controls her own image, blurring the line between persona and person. This act reinforces the MV's ongoing theme of self-assurance, highlighting that the members aren't passive subjects of attention. They're actively shaping how they're perceived, even when that perception comes with drama or scrutiny. You can also see the word Revive Plus on the wanted poster, which is the name of the album, and this is a really smart bit of visual storytelling. It turns the poster from just a prop into a layered piece of symbolism. By placing the album title on a wanted image of the members, the video links their music to the idea of being bold, sought after, and impossible to ignore. It's like the album itself is being presented as something dangerous, exciting, and attention-grabbing, something the audience should chase after or pay attention to. This detail also reinforces the overall theme of control and self-awareness. They're not just performing songs, they're creating a world where their identity, their music, and their image all intersect. It's a clever nod that rewards viewers who pay attention to the set design, making the MV feel cohesive down to the smallest details. At one point, a huge coin rolls past the frame, immediately drawing attention with its size and motion. On it, you can see the words IVE, Bang Bang, and Dive, which each carry a clear meaning. IVE is, of course, the group's name, grounding the visual in their identity. Bang Bang is the title of the song, tying the prop directly to the music and the energy of the MV. And Dive is the name of their fandom, which adds a personal connection between the group and their fans, almost like the coin is a symbolic token linking the two. The rolling motion of the coin itself reinforces themes of movement and momentum. It's not static, it's dynamic, just like the song and the visuals. In a way, this single prop manages to merge identity, art, and fan culture into one striking visual, showing how even small details in the MV are loaded with meaning. It's playful but also intentional, turning something as simple as a coin into a symbol of impact and connection. The coin's rolling motion directly mirrors the rolling motion of the giant wheel from the previous scene, creating a visual connection between the two moments. This parallel ties the MV together thematically, showing how movement and momentum repeat in different forms throughout the video. Even though the objects are different in size and context, the shared motion reinforces the idea of continuity, as if everything in this world is part of the same rhythm. It shows careful attention to visual storytelling, where small details echo one another to maintain cohesion. By linking these scenes through movement, the MV emphasizes that its energy never truly stops. It just shifts shape, rolling forward from one moment to the next. This shot is filmed through a crack in a window, giving it a slightly hidden perspective. The members are shown in a playground, which immediately contrasts with the usual intensity and industrial feel of the earlier scenes. Framing them through the crack creates a sense of distance or secrecy, as if we're catching a glimpse of a private moment, something intimate yet still powerful. The playground setting adds another layer. It evokes childhood, playfulness, and freedom, but in the context of the MV, it's not innocent or soft. Instead, it suggests that the members can command any space, even one associated with innocence, and turn it into a stage for their presence. This shot shows that the MV isn't just about aggression or rebellion. It's also about versatility, contrast, and control, reminding viewers that the group can be playful, commanding, and stylish all at once. A wind-up key appears on the screen and begins to glow, immediately connecting back to the glowing objects introduced earlier in the MV. This visual callback makes the world feel cohesive, as if all of these luminous elements are part of the same system or source of energy. The wind-up key itself suggests motion, activation, and control, like something is being set into motion or powered up. By having it glow, the MV blurs the line between mechanical and magical, reinforcing the surreal atmosphere that runs throughout the video. It shows that the energy driving the scenes isn't random. It's intentional and recurring, linking past and present moments together while emphasizing themes of momentum, transformation, and the idea that the members are the ones turning the key that keeps everything moving. The lines, "Yeah, I be going out with a bang," with several bangs repeated, are simple on the surface, but they carry a lot of weight in the context of the MV. The repetition emphasizes impact, confidence, and unstoppable energy. It's almost like a sonic representation of power or force, matching the visual intensity on screen. Saying, "going out with a bang," literally and figuratively positions the members as bold and unforgettable, leaving a mark wherever they appear. The extended repetition transforms the phrase into a kind of mantra, reinforcing the idea that this isn't just a moment. It's a continuous, unstoppable presence. It aligns with the fast cuts, synchronized choreography, and striking visuals, creating a sense of momentum and excitement. It shows that the members aren't just performing, they're embodying the energy of the song, making every movement, every beat feel explosive and unforgettable. A white horse appears in a few scenes, and its presence carries strong symbolic meaning. White horses are often associated with purity, freedom, strength, and transcendence, making them a powerful visual choice in the context of the MV. Unlike darker or more aggressive imagery, the white horse introduces a sense of calm authority and elegance, suggesting a form of power that doesn't need to be loud to be felt. It also connects to themes of movement and independence, as horses are traditionally symbols of journey and escape. By reappearing across multiple scenes, the white horse becomes a visual anchor, reinforcing the idea that beneath all the explosive energy and aggression, there's a core of control, grace, and inner strength. It adds to the MV's layered storytelling, showing that Bang Bang isn't just about impact and rebellion, but also about balance, freedom, and quiet confidence. During this part, there's also a lit fuse on screen, and it's a clever visual metaphor that amplifies the intensity of the song. A fuse suggests something explosive is about to happen, building anticipation and tension, and it mirrors the energy of the repeated bang lines. It shows that the members' impact isn't gradual, it's immediate, powerful, and inevitable. The fuse also ties into the MV's larger themes of rebellion and self-assertion, suggesting that their presence and actions can't be contained or ignored, reinforcing the idea that everything in the MV, choreography, lyrics, and set pieces, is charged and about to detonate. It's a small but striking detail that makes the energy of the song feel almost tangible on screen. The lines, "shaking my head, this is my way. I be going out with a bang are a clear declaration of independence and self-determination. Shaking my head suggests dismissing doubts, criticism, or expectations, showing that the speaker isn't letting outside opinions dictate their actions. This is my way reinforces that idea, making it explicit that they are choosing their own path, living on their own terms, and embracing their individuality. The final line, I be going out with a bang, ties it all together, turning that personal conviction into action and impact. It's not just a statement of intent. It's a promise of presence, power, and energy. In the context of the MV, these lines sync with bold choreography, dramatic camera angles, and high-energy visuals, showing that the members aren't just performing the song, they're embodying it. It conveys confidence, assertiveness, and a sense that they are fully in control of both their image and their narrative. The phrase going out with a bang, in the context of Bang Bang, carries both literal and metaphorical weight. Literally, it evokes the idea of an explosive, attention-grabbing exit, something loud, impactful, and impossible to ignore. Metaphorically, it reflects the members' attitude and presence throughout the MV. They're not quietly passing through or fading into the background. Instead, all the scenes are meant to leave a lasting impression. It suggests confidence, assertiveness, and the willingness to fully own every moment, turning even departures or transitions into statements of power. In the MV, this idea is reinforced by the choreography and the dynamic energy of the scenes, showing that going out with a bang isn't just a lyric. It's a philosophy that guides the entire performance and narrative. In the background, a digital sign reads Dive Concourse and lists two locations, Faraway Station and Far Faraway Station, each with its own countdown timer. The names themselves, Far Away and Far Far Away, suggest a sense of journey, escape, or reaching for something just out of reach, which complements the song's themes of boldness and chasing one's own path. The countdowns add urgency and movement, reinforcing the idea that time is passing and action is imminent, which mirrors the explosive energy. Placing the fandom name, Dive, in the title of the concourse also subtly acknowledges the connection between the group and their fans, making it feel like this journey or destination is something shared. Together, the digital sign transforms what could have been just a background prop into a symbolic element, tying location, timing, and audience into the MV story, while enhancing the sense of momentum and anticipation. There's yet another wanted poster on the wall during this moment, and it reinforces a recurring visual theme throughout the MV. The repetition of these posters isn't just decorative. It emphasizes the idea of notoriety and attention, showing that the members are constantly in the spotlight, both celebrated and scrutinized. Each poster acts as a reminder that they're seen, recognized, and impossible to ignore, but the way they interact with these images, crossing them out, posing next to them, shows that they're in control of that narrative. It underscores the MV's larger message about confidence, self-awareness, and owning one's image. By repeating the motif, the MV makes it clear that this isn't a one-off statement. It's a core part of the story they're telling about power, identity, and presence. A sign on the wall also reveals that this location is So Far Station, and that small detail adds another layer to the MV's world building. Naming the station gives the space a sense of place and narrative context, making it feel like part of a larger, almost cinematic universe rather than just a backdrop. It ties into the earlier digital sign showing Far Away and Far Far Away stations, reinforcing the idea of a journey or progression, both literal and metaphorical. By situating the members in a named location, it suggests that their movement, energy, and story are purposeful, not random. It also adds to the playful, surreal vibe of the setting, where the names hint at distance, mystery, and exploration, aligning perfectly with the themes of independence, confidence, and taking control that run throughout Bang Bang. There's a countdown timer on the wall showing when the train is arriving, and it adds a real sense of urgency and anticipation to the scene. The ticking clock emphasizes that something is about to happen, mirroring the explosive energy and momentum of the song. It reinforces the theme of timing and control, suggesting that the members are aware of every moment and are moving with intention, fully in command of the space around them. It keeps the audience on edge, creating tension while also aligning with the repeated bang energy. Everything feels like it's building toward a precise, impactful moment. The timer turns a simple background detail into a symbol of anticipation, momentum, and the high stakes that run throughout the MV. The lines, "This is my day. When the night comes, yeah," Yeah, I be going out with a bang, 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 bang. Carry a sense of ownership and momentum that mirrors the MV's bold visuals. This is my day asserts control and confidence, as if the speaker is claiming their time in the spotlight, setting the rules, and declaring that nothing can stop them. When the night comes adds contrast, suggesting that their energy and impact don't fade with time. They carry that same presence into every moment, day or night. The repeated bang, bang serves as both a musical and visual punctuation, reinforcing the idea of leaving a lasting impression and going out in full force. Together, these lines show that the members aren't passive participants. They're actively shaping their environment, their story, and the way they're perceived, combining self-assurance with a sense of unstoppable momentum. It's a celebration of boldness, energy, and taking command of one's narrative. It's also fitting how the scene visually mirrors the lyrics, beginning at night and then switching to day during the "This Is My Day" part, before returning to night with "When the Night Comes." This clever use of time reinforces the song's themes of control and presence, showing that the energy and impact of the members transcend time. They own both day and night. The transition from darkness to light during "This Is My Day" emphasizes empowerment and the assertion of dominance, as if they're stepping into the spotlight and claiming their space. Then, when the MV shifts back to night for "When the Night Comes," it highlights continuity and resilience, suggesting that their power doesn't fade. It continues even in the darkness. These shifts create a rhythm that aligns with the song's momentum, making the passage of time feel intentional and symbolic, while emphasizing the unshakable confidence of the members in every setting. When the countdown timer finally reaches 0 and the train arrives, it's a moment of payoff that visually and thematically reinforces the MV's sense of momentum and impact. The train's arrival acts as a literal and symbolic trigger. Everything the MV has been building toward, from the repeated bangs to the tension of the countdowns, culminates in this dramatic moment. It shows that timing and precision matter in this world, and that the energy of the members is unstoppable, like a force that aligns perfectly with the rhythm of the environment. The train's arrival also mirrors the explosive, high-intensity nature of the song, making the visuals feel kinetic and alive. In a broader sense, it emphasizes movement, transition, and arrival, suggesting that the members aren't static. They're constantly pushing forward, leaving an impact wherever they go, just like the train barreling into the scene. A sign in the background reads, "This ain't my first dust," and it adds a powerful layer to the MV's story. On the surface, it's a casual phrase, but in context it communicates experience, resilience, and confidence. It suggests that the members have faced challenges or scrutiny before and aren't intimidated by them. They know how to handle pressure and come out stronger. The wording is bold and unapologetic, reinforcing the MV's larger theme of self-assurance and control. Placing this line on a sign in the background integrates it into the world of the MV, making it feel like part of the environment the members inhabit, rather than just a lyric. It shows that they're not just performing confidence, they live it, confront obstacles head-on, and carry that attitude through every scene, every pose, and every movement. There's a giant horseshoe in the background, and its inclusion adds another layer of symbolism to the MV. Traditionally, horseshoes are associated with luck, protection, and fortune, making it a meaningful visual element in a world full of bold, high-energy imagery. Placing a massive horseshoe suggests that the power and confidence of the members aren't just in the performance. They're also tied to influence, success, and a kind of almost magical charm. It reinforces the surreal, symbolic environment of the MV by combining the horseshoe with other recurring motifs, like the glowing objects and the white horse. The MV creates a layered, cohesive visual language that conveys strength, fortune, and momentum, showing that the members are in command not only of their energy, but of the world around them. The train is now shown in the sky, moving upward, and this surreal shift immediately elevates the scene, literally and figuratively. By placing the train above ground and having it ascend, the MV transforms a familiar, grounded object into something fantastical, emphasizing momentum, ambition, and limitless energy. It shows that the members' presence and impact aren't confined to ordinary spaces. Their influence is expansive, rising above constraints and expectations. It reinforces the explosive, larger-than-life energy of the song, turning a moment of arrival into a symbol of ascension and unstoppable force. The upward motion also mirrors the themes of progress and empowerment that run throughout the MV, suggesting that the members are not just moving forward, they're rising, breaking barriers, and taking the narrative to new heights. Now, the digital sign in the background shows that the only available location is Faraway Station. Earlier, the train departed for Faraway Station, so this setup suggests that another train is about to arrive, continuing the journey. It shows a sense of progression and anticipation, reinforcing the idea that the movement and energy in the MV are ongoing and unstoppable. The countdown and the changing destinations make the space feel alive, like the environment itself is part of the narrative, guiding the members and the audience through a sequence of events. It emphasizes that the story isn't static. There's always a next step, another moment building tension, and another opportunity for impact, keeping the momentum of Bang Bang constant and dynamic. There's another wanted poster on the wall, and once again, the members mirror the exact pose shown on it, but in this shot they're being filmed via a mirror reflection. This adds a layer of complexity to the imagery, turning a simple act of mirroring into something more reflective, literally and metaphorically. Being filmed through the mirror emphasizes themes of self-awareness and identity, showing that the members are fully conscious of how they're perceived while actively controlling that perception. It reinforces the idea that they're not passive subjects of attention. They shape and own their image, turning scrutiny into a statement of confidence. The reflection also adds depth to the frame, creating a layered, almost cinematic perspective that highlights the interplay between reality and representation. It shows that the MV isn't just about bold poses or choreography. It's about control, perspective, and the deliberate construction of presence in every moment. The lines "come closer," "hurry," "go further," "taking mush," "gotta pop my gum," "give me that grr," "give me that kiss," introduce a playful yet provocative energy that shifts the mood of the MV. They convey confidence and control, but in a flirtatious, teasing way. There's a mix of boldness and attitude that feels both daring and self-assured. "Come closer," "hurry," "go further" suggest taking charge in interactions, commanding the space around them and setting the pace. The casual, "taking mush," "gotta pop my gum" adds character and a relaxed, effortless attitude, showing that they're unbothered by rules or expectations and fully in their own rhythm. Ending with "give me that grr," "give me that kiss" blends playfulness with power, mixing aggression and charm in a way that keeps the energy dynamic and unpredictable. These lines show that the members aren't just confident, they're expressive, in control, and fully aware of the impact they're having, turning the lyrics into an extension of their bold, magnetic presence on screen. The girl is seen holding a small dog in this scene. It could be a nod to her real-life pet, though it's also likely that the production simply used a similar-looking dog. Given the logistics of filming overseas, it seems unlikely that her actual dog was brought to Italy, but the resemblance still adds a personal touch that blurs the line between her on-screen persona and her real-world identity. The lines, "Hey, I told you, it's explosive, it's aggressive, it's a little bit offensive, yeah, I said it," are a bold declaration of attitude that really captures the MV's energy. They show that the members are fully aware of the impact they're making and aren't trying to soften it for anyone. They're embracing a daring, unapologetic persona. Calling themselves explosive and aggressive mirrors the song's rhythmic intensity and the sharp, striking visuals on screen, reinforcing that their presence is impossible to ignore. Saying "it's a little bit offensive" adds a cheeky edge, suggesting that part of their appeal comes from breaking expectations and challenging norms. And ending with "yeah, I said it" drives the point home, turning the statement into a confident, unflinching proclamation. These lines show that the members are in full control of their image, unafraid to claim boldness as their identity, and deliberately shaping how the audience experiences both the song and the MV. Aggressive also acts as a clear callback to the beginning of the song, which makes the line about having told them it was aggressive feel intentional rather than random. It creates a sense of circular storytelling, where the message introduced at the start comes back later as confirmation that everything unfolded exactly as promised. By repeating that idea, the lyrics reinforce consistency in their identity and attitude, showing that the bold, confrontational energy wasn't just an opening statement, but a defining trait carried throughout the entire MV. It also adds a layer of self-awareness, as if the speaker is reminding both the audience and the world around her that she already warned them about the intensity they were about to witness. This kind of lyrical callback helps tie the narrative together, making the song feel cohesive and reinforcing the confident, unapologetic tone that runs from the first scene to the last. The girl is also wearing a shirt that says "Professional Thirst Trapper," and it's a small detail that adds a lot of personality to the MV. The phrase is cheeky and confident, immediately communicating that she knows her own power and isn't afraid to use it. It shows a playful, self-aware attitude. She's aware of the attention on her and embraces it with confidence and swagger. In the context of the MV, it reinforces the recurring themes of control, confidence, and boldness, but it also humanizes the members a bit, showing they can be fun and tongue-in-cheek while still commanding the scene. That shirt becomes more than just clothing. It's a visual extension of her persona, a statement that she's not only aware of her presence but fully embracing it, and that she's turning perception and attention into a tool rather than a limitation. This shirt is from the women's clothing brand IVE, and that adds another layer to the MV's styling choices. The brand is known for bold, edgy, and streetwear-inspired pieces that often make a statement, so featuring it here reinforces the confident and rebellious energy of the members. It shows that the styling is intentional, aligning the fashion with the attitude conveyed in the lyrics and visuals. The brand's aesthetic complements the MV's mix of playfulness, assertiveness, and modern edge, helping to amplify the personas of the members, and making the look feel cohesive, striking, and part of the world the song is building. The girl walks during sunset, and only her silhouette is visible, creating a striking and cinematic moment in the MV. By reducing her form to a silhouette, the scene emphasizes shape, movement, and presence rather than detail, giving it a sense of mystery and elegance. The sunset adds warm, dramatic lighting, turning the moment into a symbolic transition between day and night, or between one phase of the MV and the next. It creates a feeling of anticipation, as if something significant is about to happen, while also highlighting her autonomy and poise. Even in shadow, her presence dominates the frame. It balances the explosive energy seen in earlier scenes with a quieter, more contemplative atmosphere, showing that the impact of the members can be both powerful and graceful, commanding attention without overt detail. When the girl puts her hands on the window and cracks instantly appear, it's a striking visual that conveys power and impact. It shows that her presence alone can disrupt and transform her environment, turning a simple action into something dramatic and almost supernatural. The cracks symbolize breaking boundaries or shattering expectations, reinforcing the MV's themes of control, confidence, and dominance. It implies that she isn't limited by her surroundings. She shapes them, leaving a mark wherever she goes. Here, the pre-chorus is repeated, but with a meaningful change. "Who cares what others think" is replaced with "Just follow my heart." This shift changes the focus from dismissing external opinions to embracing internal guidance, highlighting personal agency and authenticity. It shows that the members aren't just confident in ignoring criticism. They're actively choosing to pursue what feels right to them, following their instincts and passions. Musically and visually, it adds a fresh layer to a familiar section, keeping the momentum of the song while deepening its message. This change reinforces the MV's overarching theme of empowerment. It's not only about asserting dominance or control over how others see you. It's about leading with your own choices and living boldly on your own terms. The words on the sign in the background keep changing, creating a powerful narrative thread. It starts with "That was the plan," then shifts to "The plan changed," followed by "No one noticed," and finally, "That was the problem." This progression tells a story of intention, adaptation, and consequence without a single character needing to speak it aloud. It shows that even in a controlled, high-energy world like the MV, plans evolve, unexpected things happen, and sometimes the issues arise precisely because change went unnoticed. The changing text mirrors the fast pace and shifting energy of the MV, reinforcing themes of unpredictability, control, and self-awareness. It's a clever way of layering meaning into the background, turning what could have been a simple prop into a mini-narrative that complements the song's attitude and sense of forward motion. A sign in the background reveals that the place is dedicated to Louis Pasteur, and that's a nice detail to include. Pasteur was a French biologist and chemist, famous for his groundbreaking work in microbiology and for developing vaccines and pasteurization. Including a reference to him subtly connects the space to ideas of innovation, discovery, and scientific progress. It shows that even in a highly stylized, artistic world. The MV incorporates elements that hint at knowledge, experimentation, and legacy. This detail adds depth to the setting, making it feel like more than just a backdrop. It's a place with history and context, reinforcing the themes of growth, influence, and impact that run through Bang Bang. The girls are shown dancing around a group of police officers, and the officers don't flinch or react at all. This creates a striking contrast between authority and presence, emphasizing the members' confidence and dominance. It shows that their energy is so powerful and self-assured that even figures of control remain unmoved. They command the space without needing approval or validation. It reinforces the MV's recurring theme of fearless boldness and agency, turning choreography into a statement of influence. The scene also adds a slightly rebellious edge, highlighting that the members set the rules in their world. Nothing and no one can disrupt their momentum or confidence. During the repeated bang parts, the girl tilts her finger with each bang, and the camera follows the movement in perfect sync. This detail turns a simple gesture into a dynamic visual element, almost like the finger itself is a trigger or a conductor of energy. The coordination between the choreography and the camera movement emphasizes precision, control, and playfulness, making each bang feel deliberate and impactful. It also draws the viewer's attention to her as the focal point, showing that she's in command of the scene and fully owning the rhythm and attitude of the song. By aligning movement, music, and camera work so tightly, the MV transforms a small action into a striking, almost symbolic moment that amplifies the explosive energy of both the choreography and the song itself. The girl has striking blue eyes, which are relatively uncommon, and this detail immediately draws attention to her gaze. It shows that the MV is using precise visual cues to make her presence stand out, emphasizing individuality and uniqueness. The unusual eye color adds an almost surreal or otherworldly quality to her appearance, reinforcing the fantastical and cinematic tone of the video. Globally, only about 8 to 10% of people have naturally blue eyes, making it a relatively rare eye color. The prevalence varies by region. It also enhances the impact of close-up shots, making her expressions and emotions more memorable and intense. In the context of the MV, the blue eyes show that small physical traits are deliberately highlighted to convey confidence, distinctiveness, and a sense of captivating charisma that aligns with the bold energy of Bang Bang. The camera tilts up to reveal a larger cluster of glowing objects, and more appear with each bang, creating a sense of expansion and escalation in the scene. The effect shows that the energy of the song isn't static. It grows and multiplies, just like the presence and impact of the members. Each new glowing object emphasizes the rhythm and intensity of the music, turning abstract visuals into a tangible representation of the bang motif, making the world feel alive and responsive to the actions of the members. By linking the appearance of the objects directly to the beats of the song, the MV visually embodies the explosive momentum and unstoppable energy that define Bang Bang. The chorus is repeated here, and while we've already talked about what the lyrics mean, the scenes take on a different role this time. Instead of simply reinforcing the message, it shows how confidence and aggression have fully settled in. The members move with more ease and authority, like they're no longer introducing the idea of power, but living in it. The camera work feels more assured, the expressions are sharper, and the overall energy feels elevated compared to earlier moments. It shows progression, as if the MV is saying that the mindset introduced in the first chorus has now been fully embraced. It keeps the repetition from feeling redundant, and instead turns it into a statement of growth, reinforcing that the message of Bang Bang isn't just echoed, it's strengthened. A sign in the background reads, "Ride till the dust settles," and it works as a quiet but meaningful extension of the MV's themes. The phrase suggests persistence and endurance, implying that the members will keep moving forward no matter how chaotic things get around them. Rather than slowing down when pressure or controversy appears, they continue riding through it until everything clears. Placing this message within the environment makes it feel like part of their worldview, reinforcing the idea that confidence isn't just about bold moments on stage, but also about resilience over time. It shows that their energy isn't temporary or impulsive. It's sustained, steady, and rooted in the belief that they can outlast all the noise that surrounds them. One of the members is shown dancing under red lighting, and that color choice carries a lot of meaning. It's typically used to convey intensity, danger, passion, or power, and all of those ideas fit perfectly within the MV's narrative. It heightens the emotional impact of the scene, making her movements feel sharper and more charged. In this context, the redness amplifies the aggressive confidence of the song, translating the bang energy into something visceral. It also isolates her from the rest of the environment, turning the moment into a statement of dominance and presence, as if she's fully consumed by the power and attitude the MV has been building toward. The lines, hot issue, who could it be? Everyone is antsy to find out, lean into the idea of curiosity and public attention, reinforcing the image of the members as figures constantly surrounded by speculation. Calling it a hot issue frames them as something people are actively talking about, hinting at rumors, headlines, or the kind of buzz that comes with being in the spotlight. The question, who could it be, adds a sense of mystery, almost like the MV is playing with the idea of identity and perception, while everyone is antsy to find out, suggests anticipation and excitement from the outside world. Together, these lines show that attention and intrigue aren't portrayed as pressure but as fuel, emphasizing that the members thrive in an environment where people are watching, wondering, and waiting to see what they'll do next. In this scene, the girl is looking through a window, which carries symbolic meaning beyond the simple act of gazing outside. Windows often represent perspective, opportunity, or the boundary between two worlds, the space she inhabits and the world beyond, as if she's observing her surroundings while remaining in control of her own space. It can also symbolize the idea of choice or possibility, showing that she has the power to decide whether to stay inside her current world or step out into something new. It creates a layered composition, framing her within the environment while emphasizing themes of observation, agency, and intentional action. The lines disappear like smoke. Catch me if you can, baby, introduce a sense of mystery and elusiveness that contrasts with the more aggressive, grounded imagery seen earlier in the MV. Comparing themselves to smoke suggests something intangible and impossible to fully grasp, reinforcing the idea that they can't be easily defined or controlled. It adds a playful but confident challenge, as if they're always one step ahead of anyone trying to chase or label them. Catch me if you can, baby, turns that idea into a direct provocation, positioning them as both alluring and untouchable. In the context of the MV, these lines show another side of their power, not just explosive and bold, but fluid, unpredictable, and constantly shifting, which keeps the audience engaged and reinforces the theme of owning one's narrative while remaining just out of reach. The phrase, "catch me if you can," was also used as a lyric in IVE's previous song Baddie, so its appearance here feels like a deliberate callback rather than a coincidence, almost like a recurring motto that ties their concepts together. By reusing a familiar line, it links Bang Bang to the confident, rebellious image they've been building over time, reinforcing the idea that this bold attitude isn't new, it's an evolution. For viewers who recognize the reference, it adds an extra layer of meaning, rewarding longtime fans with a nod to the group's past while showing how their identity keeps expanding. It suggests that their narrative is ongoing, with each comeback building on the last rather than starting from scratch. Graffiti in the background reads Trieste, which grounds the scene in a real-world location. It's where the Rosal Malara complex is located, so including this detail ties the dramatic, stylized visuals back to an actual place, giving the setting a sense of authenticity. It shows that while the MV creates a larger-than-life, almost cinematic world, it's still rooted in reality, blending real architecture and cultural context with the group's bold, imaginative performance. This small detail also adds texture to the environment, making the space feel lived in and visually rich, while reminding viewers that the striking visuals are taking place somewhere tangible and historically significant. The countdown timer for the last train appears on the screen, but it's displayed backwards, so the members can read it clearly while the audience sees it in reverse. This clever detail shows that the MV is carefully constructed from the perspective of the performers, emphasizing that the members are fully in control of their environment. It creates a feeling of intentional choreography and precise timing where everything, including what's on screen, is tailored to their experience and action. For the audience, the reverse timer adds a layer of intrigue and visual interest, creating a slight sense of disorientation that mirrors the high energy and unpredictable nature of the scene. It emphasizes that the world changes according to the control of the members, underscoring the themes of dominance, self-assurance, and calculated precision that carry through Bang Bang. The lines, "I'll play with you just a little bit longer," for 3, 2, 1. Introduce a sense of suspense and anticipation right before the energy shifts again. Saying, "I'll play with you," keeps that teasing, confident tone that runs throughout the MV, suggesting control over the interaction and the pacing of the moment. It feels playful on the surface, but there's also a sense of control, as if they're choosing precisely how long the audience remains in that tension. The countdown for 3, 2, 1 adds structure and urgency, almost like a trigger being pulled or a moment about to explode. It builds expectation, making viewers feel like something big is about to happen both musically and optically. Together, the lines highlight how the song blends playfulness with intensity, using timing and anticipation to maintain momentum while demonstrating that the members shape the narrative and the energy of the scene. The train also appears right after the countdown reaches 0, turning anticipation into immediate action. This timing reinforces the sense of momentum and payoff that the countdown has been building toward, making the moment feel both dramatic and satisfying. It shows that the MV is carefully choreographed not just in dance and camera movement, but in the way scenes play out, with tension and release perfectly aligned with the music. The train's arrival becomes a visual punctuation mark for the energy of the song, emphasizing impact, forward motion, and unstoppable force. It also reinforces the themes of timing, control, and progression. The scene moves with precision, and every moment, from countdown to arrival, feels deliberate and charged with intensity. The chorus is repeated here yet again, but instead of feeling repetitive, it works as a culmination of everything that's been built up so far. By this point in the MV, the message and attitude behind the lyrics feel fully established, so the repetition shifts the focus toward energy and impact rather than explanation. The members perform with a stronger sense of confidence and familiarity, as if they've completely settled into the bold persona introduced earlier. It supports the sense of momentum, showing that the bang energy isn't a one-time statement, but a continuous force that keeps driving the narrative forward. It makes the chorus feel bigger each time it returns, highlighting development, control, and the lasting impression they'll leave behind. Many more glowing objects also appear floating in the sky, further amplifying the surreal and magical atmosphere of the MV. Their presence turns the environment into something larger than life, as though the whole environment is energized and reacting to the performance of the members. These objects feel untethered and limitless, floating in the sky, reinforcing themes of freedom, momentum, and unstoppable force. They create depth and movement, making the scene feel expansive and dynamic while emphasizing the scale of the energy that the members bring. This recurring motif of glowing objects ties different parts of the MV together, showing that the impact of the members isn't confined to one space. It radiates outward, transforming the environment and turning every moment into a spectacle that's both fantastical and powerful. The members dance on the roof of the building in this scene, a striking shift from the earlier scenes where they performed on the ground. This change in elevation shows a progression in both energy and presence, demonstrating the idea that their confidence and impact are rising. They're no longer confined to a single space, but dominating the scene from above. Dancing on the rooftop also adds a sense of boldness and risk, emphasizing fearlessness and control over their environment. It highlights their ability to command attention in any setting, turning the height and openness of the rooftop into a symbol of power, freedom, and status within the narrative of the MV. The sign in the background now reads "Last Stop," and it signals a sense of finality and culmination in the MV. After all the movement, countdowns, and trains, this moment marks the end point of the journey, both visually and narratively. It shows that the sequence of events, full of momentum, tension, and energy, is reaching its conclusion, giving the audience a sense of closure. At the same time, "Last Stop" emphasizes that the members have fully arrived in control of the space. They've completed the journey on their own terms. It reinforces the theme of agency and command that runs throughout Bang Bang, showing that the members aren't just passengers in their world. They set their own destination. The train is shown flying upward toward the sky, transforming the scene into something surreal and larger than life. This shift takes the MV beyond ordinary reality, turning the train into a symbol of limitless momentum and ambition. It shows that the energy and impact of the members aren't confined by physical space. They're rising, ascending, and breaking boundaries. It amplifies the explosive, unstoppable vibe of the song, making the movement feel almost supernatural. The upward trajectory reinforces themes of empowerment, progress, and transcendence, suggesting that the members are not just moving forward. They're elevating themselves and the entire narrative to new heights, leaving a lasting impression that mirrors the boldness of Bang Bang itself. In the credits, we can see that the director of the MV is Bang Jae-yob, and that detail adds another layer of context to the video as a whole. He's directed many other K-pop MVs. That explains why everything feels so polished and confident. Directors bring their own signature style and storytelling instincts, and knowing his background helps make sense of the MV's sharp pacing, symbolic set pieces, and strong visual motifs. It shows that this wasn't just about creating eye-catching scenes, but about crafting a cohesive narrative through imagery, movement, and atmosphere. His experience shines through in how every detail feels purposeful, reinforcing the song's themes while keeping the visuals engaging from start to finish. And that wraps up the breakdown for this MV. There is a lot to talk about, from the striking set design and symbolic props to the choreography, lighting, and recurring motifs that tie everything together. Every detail, from wanted posters to glowing objects and surreal visuals, contributes to the story and energy of the song, showing just how deliberate and layered the production is. With so many small elements packed into each scene, it's likely that there are details we might have missed. Were there any moments or visuals you noticed that weren't mentioned here, something that caught your eye or added to the overall impact of the MV? Sometimes the smallest props or gestures can carry surprising meaning. How did you feel about the song and the video? Personally, I thought it was really catchy, the kind of track that sticks in your head after just one listen. The beat, the rhythm, and the repeated bang hooks make it feel energetic and immediate, and the way the chorus hits really emphasizes that explosive vibe. As for the MV itself, it stood out and had a lot of intricate details. From the bold set pieces to the symbolic props like wanted posters, glowing objects, and the surreal trains and horses, every shot felt deliberate and cinematic. The mix of aggression, confidence, and fantasy gave it a dynamic energy, while quieter, dreamlike moments like the field of flowers or the silhouetted sunset showed versatility and depth. Overall, the MV matched the song perfectly, amplifying its intensity while creating a visually memorable world that complements the performance of the members. The song's message comes through loud and clear: be unapologetically yourself. It encourages listeners to stop worrying about what others think, reminding us that no matter what we do, there will always be people who criticize or judge. Instead of letting that hold you back, the song urges you to embrace your boldness. It's about confidence, self-expression, and refusing to apologize for being who you are. Ultimately, the lyrics inspire empowerment, showing that true strength comes from staying authentic and standing firm in your identity, no matter the opinions of others. The lyrics of the song also resonate strongly with the life of an idol. Being in the spotlight means all moves, expressions, and small personal choices are constantly examined and judged by the public and media. The message of the members reflects this reality. They're essentially saying that they won't let other people's opinions control them. They're aware that they attract attention and that some people may take issue with them, but it doesn't faze them. This shows a sense of resilience and self-assurance, highlighting that confidence isn't just about performance on stage. It's also about handling scrutiny off stage and maintaining their identity and power despite constant observation. Choosing to film on location in Italy was a thoughtful decision. Rather than shooting in Korea or relying on a studio set, the production utilized real locations that added authenticity, scale, and texture. The historic architecture, open streets, and unique landscapes provide a cinematic backdrop that a studio could never fully replicate, making each scene feel more dynamic and immersive. Filming on location also allows for creative interaction with the environment, like rooftops, plazas, and train stations, giving the members space to perform in ways that emphasize movement, energy, and presence. This song is actually just a pre-release, with a full album set to drop in a few weeks, giving fans a taste of the energy, style, and confidence to expect from the rest of the project. If this track is already so strong and memorable, it raises expectations for the other songs on the album, creating excitement and curiosity when the full album arrives. Here's a fun bit of trivia. Wonyoung took part in writing the lyrics for this song, collaborating with Exy from WJSN and some other people, which adds an extra layer of personality to the track. Knowing that a member contributed creatively helps the message feel more authentic, since the confidence and attitude in the lyrics can be seen as coming directly from the artists themselves rather than just the production team. It also highlights the growing involvement of idols in shaping their own musical identity, showing that the song isn't only a performance piece, but also a reflection of the creative input of the members. Just like the lyrics of the song say, "Always go out with a bang." The phrase encourages boldness and self-assurance, which K-pop MV should be broken down next. Leave a recommendation in the comments. Your pick might be the next video. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe for more in-depth analyses.